I move that we leave executive session. Is there a second?
Yes, I second.
Councilman Valentine, all in favor?
Aye.
If everyone could please just dial it back to a dull roar real quick. Can you hear me? Hello? Can everybody hear me? Is it working now? All right, good. There we go. We're almost there. A little more quieter. A little quieter. All right, we're seeing movement back there. Good. All right, good. Welcome to the Orangetown Town Board meeting for April 9th. We already did call the meeting to order earlier for a police commission meeting, so attendance was taken, and we now will do the Pledge of Allegiance. If Esther Baylor could please lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, just so everyone understands what we're doing here, I can see there are a lot of athletes. I'm going to have a few announcements. There's going to be a National Poetry Month proclamation, and then we're going to go team by team. You're going to come up, get the certificate, stay standing up here, take a team photo. After all three teams are done, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break so everyone can cycle out, enjoy any cookies that might be left after you're waiting in there, and then not stay around for the boring stuff. So I'll move on to announcements now. So our first announcement is that the Orangetown Town Clerk, Rosanna Sfraja, and the Rockland County Solid Waste Authority and People to People are co-hosting a paper shredding and non-perishable food collection event on Saturday, April 13th from 8 a.m. to noon. That's here at the Orangetown Town Hall. If you could please bring the things you want shredded and then bring a can of some sort of non-perishable food item to donate. And there is a board member from People to People who will also be donating $1 for every single non-perishable food item that is brought in. So he'll give $1 to People to People. If you bring a can of corn, that's $1. You bring whatever, it's another $1. So that's good. Again, that's Saturday, April 13th, 8 to noon. Camp Shank's Legacy exhibit is at the Orangetown Museum. The opening reception is April 13th, Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Depew House on Chief Bill Harris Way, sponsored by the Orangetown Historical Museum and Archives. The Legacy exhibit continues during regular museum hours. Also related to the Camp Shank's display at the Orangetown Historical Museum on April 26th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. will be poetry from our Orangetown Poet Laureate, Rosemary Racciopi, and a musical performance. I am mostly Italian, I'm sorry, but I'm not that Italian. Sometimes I make a mistake on it. Musical performance as well. There's a suggested donation of $5. Then also we have 2 public hearings coming up. The first on April 30th is for a proposed local law doing zone changes for Route 303 on a petition for a zone change. And the second public hearing that's scheduled is amendments to the filming code, sort of minor textual stuff that we've encountered as our filming guy, Greg, is taken over and realized some minor issues. Moving on to presentations. So April is, in fact, National Poetry Month. We try to acknowledge different various months throughout the year as their special things. Here in Orangetown, we have a poet laureate, Rosemary Racciopi, and we are very happy to be awarding her the proclamation that proclaims this to be National Poetry Month here in Orangetown. I'm just going to summarize it. I'm not going to read it in great detail, but basically, National Poetry Month is the largest literary celebration in the world. Tens of millions of readers, students, teachers, librarians, etc. participate. It was started and inspired by successful celebrations of Black History Month and Women's History Month, and was established first in 1996. April was chosen specifically because the poets, teachers, librarians, etc. thought this would be a good month with the highest level of participation in the spring when kids are still in school. And it highlights the legacy and ongoing achievement of American poets, including our own poet laureate, to our culture as a country. So therefore, I, Chris Day, supervisor of the town of Orangetown, on behalf of the entire town board, hereby proclaim April 2019 National Poetry Month here in the town of Orangetown. I'm going to call Rosemary up. She believes she has a poem to read, and she can take this proclamation.
Thank you. And a postscript to the announcement, the Orangeburg Library that has many hours, including those that encompass 7 days a week, has an exhibit, and it is an exhibit in devotion to Cam Shanks and all our veterans. I encourage you to visit it and give homage to Cam Shanks. Thank you. And thank you to the town board of Orangetown, Jerry Atari, Thomas Bidley, Dennis, who's not here, Dennis Troy. Oh my goodness.
You're a poet, you're not somebody.
I will reverse it.
Scratch that reverse.
No,
Yeah.
I know you're Dennis. I know, that's why I said he's not here. Well, wait a minute. Here he is. Okay. And for Valentine, and obviously for the leadership of Chris Day, supervisor, in bringing this honor forward. We've been touched by the news that was reported last night and again today. With prayers and deep condolences for the families, the loved ones, and friends of the 3 United States Marines killed in the roadside bomb attack in Afghanistan on Monday, in tribute, hail to our veterans. And what be this poet's plea, but to honor our veterans from sea to sea. With freedom's call, valor in praise be heard, for the spoils of victory and liberation's word. Hushed be the oppressive cry in anguish known, with faith and noble deed in valor shown. This the dedication of those with freedom's vision held clear. Gratitude to the sons and daughters whose sacrifice we ever to hold dear. It has been said, no words can explain the wages of war we do spend, but for the freedoms and rights we are to defend. For those given to liberation and freedom's call, blessed, blessed be they who have given their all. So let us, with open hearts and grace, live the divinity of gratitude within heart's place. Tears, with loss of life, we do shed and share. Know that in valor, souls soar high, ever in God's embrace and care. And what be this poet's plea? But to honor our veterans from sea to sea. Thank you.
Rosemary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I know he will.
Everyone knows who Tom is. I mean, Dennis. All right. Thank you very much. And now we're going to move on to. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. So the first team we're going to call up is our Tappan Zee High School girls varsity basketball championship team. They are the Section 1 Class A champions, which is the first time in history that has occurred at Tappan Zee High School. So a little round of applause there right off the bat. That's pretty good. So if I could just have, let's see who we got here first, if it leads with the coach or no. Okay. If the coach could come up, please, and assist here with the team filing in. Yeah, that might be a good idea. I'm going to relocate to the podium so I don't have to stretch. I'm going to take the whole giant stack here. Give me 1 second. I think I got it. Okay. All right. You hear me? Good? Okay. So as you come up, you're going to say hello to the town board on the way, and then take this at the end, and then just sort of, I guess, are we cycling out or piling up in the front, I think, right? What do you think? Greg, what do you think? Hang in the front? Yeah. All right, so then end up in the front. All right. So first, I'm going to call up Ashley Chaluzian. Congratulations. Thank you. You can cycle back through. Yeah. Christine Lynch. Not here. Save that. Stay at the end there, and then we'll just sort of pull it in there. Abigail McDowell. Fiona Mullen. Kaylee Byrne. Allison Maloney. Allison? Okay. Mackenzie Strell? Amanda Malpelli. Shannon Phelan. Alanis Diaz. Kelly Linehan. Ariana Coopy. We have head coach Riley Chevrier. Did I get it? Gotcha. So we have, I'll read the names of the other coaches, though they're not here. Kristen McLaughlin and Chris LaRusso, the junior varsity coach. Congratulations to them as well. All right, so we're going to just take a quick photo, and then... can everyone bring his line? Pick it up, Chris, want to take a look here? And any parents that want to take a photo, want to come right in the middle here so you can take a photo?
Amanda.
Everybody good? Thanks, guys.
No, Greg. You want to give these to Amanda? Carl. Can you give these to your coach? Yeah. Thanks.
Also want to acknowledge Dr. Pritchard's here, the superintendent. I saw his height when he was taking the photos. All right, next is we have our girls indoor track, the Section 1 Class B champions, also for the first time in history. Pretty good. Round of applause, please. All right, so again, girls indoor track, we're going to do the same thing. Call you up, come here, get certificates, say hello, stop at the end, take the photo. It'll go smoother this time because basketball figured it out for you. All right, once you're all ready here, I don't want to... First up is Hillary Abankwa. Naomi Acosta. Not here. Okay. Tess Berkowitz. Not here. Okay. Still a lot of people considering two people weren't there. Madison Brownell. 3 in a row. All right. Daniela Cambrea. Is this the right team? Am I right? Am I reading the right school? Is Pro River that list here? Leah Dillon. Is it the coach play a prank on us or something here? Or? Okay, all right, that's good. Tool sports. Mackie Donovan. There we go. We got one. Tori Fears. Julia Fears. Mia Giaver. I think I was close. Lauren Hanchar. Not here. Alexis Kraus. Caitlin Lange. Megan Majeski. Even though I know your name, Dave, it's still difficult to pronounce. Erin Malanafi. Loria Martin. Amanda McCarthy. Catherine McDowell. Danielle Perez. Caitlin Panilla. Hannah Preble. Grace Reynolds. Riley Roymasher. Maddie Roth. Gabby Shea. Grace Simpson. Deirdre Sullivan. Alexandra Thomas. Alexis Tomasello. Vachelle Antonucci. Nicole Clancy. A lot of two-sport stars here, I feel. Vienna Gutzewicz. You're gonna be the last two, I bet. Is it the two? Neve Harrier. Diana Perez. Hey, right there. There's definitely a few more here that aren't here because I only see one and there's like 10. So Catherine Sullivan. All right. So I'm gonna read off the rest since they're obviously not present, and that way everyone gets their recognition. We have Nicole Tremsky. You can. Pat Driscoll, head coach. There he is. Oh, it's a big coaching staff. That's all. Okay. Mike Ryan, assistant coach. Bob Favre, assistant coach. Favery. No. Kaylee Marmion, assistant coach. Anne-Marie Corella, assistant coach. That is all of them. All right, let's get a photo.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And everyone else stagger right behind them. Between heads.
No, that's right.
How are you?
How are you? Congratulations. That's great.
everything?
Good. How are you? Good to see you.
If you're saying anything private, is a microphone. Tell you those parents with photos, right, kids? Thank you. Let's go. All right. Last but not least, we have our, yes, we're going to wait for them to file out so we can use the door. Is Mike Galino here? Where is he? Bob, is he in now, or did he come in? Did Mike come in or no? It's okay if he's not here yet. Okay. All right. All right, so the next team we're going to honor are our boys Tappan Zee High School varsity basketball team. They won the Dan Dinan tournament. They won 23 straight games. They were the league champions, and they made it to the sectional finals. There he is. Before we do that, though, I don't want him to be left to the end as a hanging chad. We did a certificate for Mike Galino, the athletic director, because of the many accomplishments that his athletes have made collectively. So, Mike, if you want to come up and take a certificate. He also sent us all the names, so it was kind of a big job. All right, so the first on the basketball team, the league champion boys varsity basketball, Nathaniel Deloach. Brendan O'Connor. Aiden Cunney. I don't feel short normally, but you guys are doing it. 6 feet's pretty good usually. Connor Maloney. Charles Garrison. Daniel Linehan. Oh, come on. Urgis Muhammadaj. Michael Mooney. Kevin Clancy. Sean Foodie. David Alexander. Sean Berrigan. Absence. Colin Cunney. Head coach George Gain. Daniel Linehan, assistant coach. Pat Waldron, assistant coach. And Chris Rastelli, the junior varsity coach, who I don't see here. Congratulations, everyone.
Is everybody on that?
I'm going to move that we enter a 5-minute recess. Is there a second? Councilman Troy with a second. All in favor? Aye. All right. 5-minute recess to eat some food and. All right, I'm going to move that we leave recess. Is there a second? Councilman Batari, second by all in favor? Aye. All right. One announcement we missed on Saturday, also the same time as the Pearl River event, the John Murphy, longtime county legislator and all-around great guy, is being honored by Camp Venture. Where is it again? It's from 6 to It's at Venture, 6 to 10 at Camp Venture. So if you can make it, that would be good. He definitely deserves the honor.
Please call Jim Alto's tour.
Okay, that's the.
Tickets are
All
$100.
right. Anyway, so we're going to move on now to the workshop of agenda items. We don't have a very heavy agenda, but it's there, so we're going to talk about it. First item is to accept a resignation for the Board of Ethics from Dr. Margaret Mary Fitzpatrick. We do not have a replacement yet. There's some suggestions from the members of the Board of Ethics that they'd like to have heard, so we're looking at it. Number 4, we're going to appoint Mike McCrory, having finished reviewed the resume, to the Planning Board for a 7-year term. Very qualified guy, firefighter, leadership. Memorializing resolution opposing the release of Judith Clark. This is the same one from last year. We kept Mutulu Shakur in there just in case, even though he's not up right now, just to reiterate that we do not want Judith Clark paroled. She should not be. She's an unrepented terrorist and murderer, and she was not some young kid who got filmed with a bad crowd. She was a 30-something with a kid. So she deserves to stay in prison for at least as long as she is alive. Number 6, remember when we discussed this at the last meeting, this is a resolution opposing the legalization of recreational marijuana in New York, and also, but while we're simultaneously reiterating our support for medical marijuana and encouraging it to be fully legalized on a medical basis at the federal level. So all the whereases state all the negative effects we've seen in other states mostly that have legalized it, and then the resolves are encouraging it not to be legalized, that it be studied more, that they then further encourage medical research into it, and then passing it on to the appropriate elected officials on the subject. Any questions on this one or thoughts? Okay. Next, we have an award for a bid. This is the new software technology for the building department, fire department, and a little bit of a couple other departments too, that will allow for full online permitting and a full software-based process for building permits especially, but also fire permits, inspections, and everything else. There's been a lot of back and forth as to which company to use. I really want to thank the department heads who were involved in that process because they've done a great job. And basically, this is going to be split into 2 separate periods, 2 different actual payments over one fiscal year, the next fiscal year. It's already budgeted for the quantity of money. It's just assigning the actual who's going to get the bid at this point, because it was accounted for in other budget line items for software anyway. We're reducing some software spend and replacing it with this, which is a better system. Next, we have to file claim against the State of New York and New York State Thruway Authority for damages to town sewer lines by Yonkers Contracting. This is a contractor working on a state project that pretty much filled up our sewer lines with cement, if I recall correctly. So we need to get that money from them. They will pay it, and we just need to pass this resolution. Number 9, accept and receive a performance bond for the Orangetown Commerce Center site plan. Simple, normal stuff. Then approve a tax certiorari on 10, small amount. I think it's only $3,000, so not bad. I don't know how much the total amount being disputed was, but it doesn't sound like a lot of money. Then adopt a procurement policy. This was circulated around for 12 years or so. And finally, I thought you said it was a matter of years this was being looked at. And now we're going to have a formal internal procurement policy, which should have been done many, many years ago under perhaps a previous supervisor who didn't do it. And We're getting it done now, though, right?
And we're supposed to renew it every year, so. make
Okay,
sure.
so this will be an annual thing. We'll put a reminder on your calendar, Rob, or Teresa, and do it again next year. And then resolution to adopt a policy for travel and conferences. Essentially, it adopts standard practices for the IRS as our formal practices for reimbursement per mile, that sort of thing, tolls. Then we have resolution to accept, receive, file documents, town clerk's office. Again, any questions, please stop me. I'm not trying to rush us through. This is the discussion period. Grant permission to attend training. We got the drone for our fire prevention and building. This is the online course to train them in how to use it. And then they will be paying for their own licensing, the actual licensing itself, so that because they carry that with them personally. We're paying for the training because we want them to do it, and they're going to pay themselves out of pocket for the actual license itself. And then approve assistance for the Spark Hill Memorial Day Parade on May 27th from 11:30 to 12. Approve assistance for the Greek Festival for St. Constantine's Church. That is June 6th to 9th from 10 to 12, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. That is, the other one was 11:30 to 12 a.m. Morning. Then we're going to be authorizing the implementation and funding of the cost of a qualified transportation project. This is going to be reimbursed costs. We have to authorize it to get the money from the DOT. We're appointing then Helen Wilson, Principal Clerk Stenographer, effective April 10th, no change in salary. We're then approving some shade tree plantings around Arbor Day. The specific trees are listed. This is around the Homes for Heroes site, so this is partially due to the funding increase we were able to get done. They were able to designate some more tree plantings, so this is good, and they're TBD on the date it happens. 21, we did go out and attempt to get a bid for basically do it for free, just run it, don't pay us rent for the batting cages. We've received precisely 0 responses to that, and I can guarantee we got a lot of attention. We got on two news networks. I had 14,000 views on Facebook. It was shared all over the place, and we still got no bids to run it without paying rent at all. So Eric is asking, I'm agreeing with, that we should declare this surplus and just get rid of an unsafe thing now because it's not capable of being used. Which is a shame, I think, but it is what it is. We did do our best. Resolution to approve, accept donations for memorial benches for Beta Fisher in honor of Alan and Dorothy Magrino, Rob's parents, Brightview Senior Living, and in memory of Walter Murphy, USMC.
So, Dr. Ed Fisher, town councilman's wife.
Okay, gotcha. Next is to create a position, Justice Court Security Attendant. This will, I guess, allow a wider variety of people to apply for the job that we do part-time for our security guards at the court, which is a slightly different job description and qualifications, and then the audit, and then adjournments. Any questions before we go to public comment, gentlemen? No, okay. So, I'm gonna move that we open public comment. Is there a second? Councilman Troy with a second. All in favor? Right. Just to review again, for anyone who's new to this, you have 3 minutes. There are no back and forth unless we feel there's some sort of egregious situation that has to occur. When the 3-minute bell goes off, please just wrap up your sentence. You don't have to stop dead, but please don't continue on for another 3 paragraphs. And again, we will attempt to address, unless it's a time-sensitive or pressing thing, we will be addressing everyone in one group at the end of the public comment session. And at that point, then there's no dialogue back and forth. Public comment's over. We could always talk offline about it. So our first member of the public will be Esther Baylor of Spark Hill. Esther, whenever you're ready.
Good evening, Supervisor Day and Town Board members. Hi, for the record, my name is Esther Baylor, and I'm a resident of Spark Hill. Tonight, Supervisor Day, I'm sorry to hear that you're leaving, and I wish you the best of luck in your new endeavors. I hope that you will assist the next person who comes on board as a town supervisor. I just want to thank you, Supervisor Day, for all that you've done for the town. And this is not only coming from me, but from Venture and the board. And Dennis happens to be on the board. I just want to thank Paul Valentine, who throughout the years has taught me how to speak up and be assertive. And he's done a great job. Please use Paul Valentine Electrical and Plumbing Company. They're well known in the county. So I'm asking everybody here to only use them and not Rafa Plumbing. Thank you.
Paul, we'll send you a bill for the airtime. Thank you, Esther.
Thank you, Esther.
Okay. That was unexpected.
Yeah, that was.
I gotta come up with the rate. What's the rate that we charge per minute for advertisements? New revenue stream. All right, guys, not taxes. Good. Next up, Barbara Dello of Blauvelt.
Hi, my name is Barbara Dello, and I want to apologize up front if I'm saying anything. I've missed a couple of meetings for health reasons. The first thing I want to talk about is I'm a president of a little club, and one of my members came to me, a very quiet, gentle, lovely, helpful woman, older woman who lived in Courtwood Village, and she talked to me about the progress on the Courtwood Village improvements, and she was very concerned about it, and the frustration of the residents there. When the rent was increased, which was a hardship for many residents, particularly those on fixed incomes, promises were made that there would be improvements along with it, apparently. And it's been quite a bit of time has passed, and she said, we haven't seen any improvements. And she said, we don't even mind so much the, the rent hurts, the increase in rent hurts, but at least if we were getting the improvements, it would be understandable and it would be easier to live with. So that's the first thing I told her. I would pass that along because she said I couldn't come and say it. So I said, okay, I can do it. And Esther, I want to also thank you for being part of democracy because I think that's wonderful. The second thing I wanted to say was I was thinking about the new town hall, and I missed most of the meetings on that because of my health. And it reminded me just a few years back, we too were embarking on a construction project, though on a much smaller scale. We were making some improvements to our house. So first we made house plans, and we went to architect, and then we went to the builder, then we got the cost estimate, and in our case, the cost estimate was too high for our family budget, past, and what we expected in the future. So we had to downsize our dreams and ended up with a lovely but somewhat smaller addition. And what I wanted to say is I think this is how life is for many residents here in Orangetown, many of the families I know. We have to watch our expenses. We think of our children, or in my case, grandchildren. We have to look at different things and make choices and choose priorities, and sometimes make hard decisions and sometimes do without some things. There's no doubt that we need a new town hall. I just want to ask that you be mindful that many town residents have to watch their expenses, and some may even struggle with them. And that I wanted to ask if, as you get back estimates, please be as careful with our taxpayer dollars as we are ourselves, and we have to be ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is Mike Mandel of Pearl River.
Good evening, Supervisor Day, members of the town board. For the record, Michael Mandel, resident of Pearl River. Back in the late 60s, early 70s, I was a member of the New York City Police Department when terrorist organizations were out there executing cops, either in ambushes or bombing. So I'd like to commend the board for your resolution opposing the release at any future parole hearings of the domestic terrorists Clark and Shakur, who were members of the Weather Underground. They were responsible for the deaths of 2 police officers and security guards during the Brinks robbery in Nanuet in 1981, as well as many other terrorist acts. Further, that a copy of the resolution is being sent to our great Governor Cuomo, who apparently thinks that clemency for a terrorist and murderer is a noble pursuit, when in fact it is an act of disrespect to the memories of those three men and to their families and friends who would never see them again. So thank you very much, and I do appreciate that you're putting it through again, and hopefully each and every year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Up next is Eileen Larkin of Palisades.
Hi, Chris. Good evening, members of the board. Where are my notes? Oh, God, here they are. Bear with me, please. Supervisor Day, members of the board, I should like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for supporting my request for the memorial resolution to the governor and to our state reps not to legalize marijuana. It's a great, lengthy, very in-depth resolution, and I hope that they take notice of it. I was even more surprised when Supervisor Day and all of you went a step further and added that the Orangetown will not accept any revenues from taxes that are being being proposed if they do legalize the marijuana. I also wanted to thank Ann Pinzo for her excellent article in the April 3rd issue, that she gave us a lot more information on the damage that happens to someone if they do get involved with drugs. Ironically, Senator Colucci has a bill passed in Albany restricting the right to buy cigarettes to the age of 21, but he has no qualms about legalizing marijuana. And it's interesting to see what's happening on the state level, which affects all of us down here. We have the congested pricing bill that went through. None of our elected officials commute. Doesn't impact them on going across the bridge or getting into Manhattan, and paying the exorbitant fees now that will, the right to abort a baby in the third trimester, this congested pricing, the marijuana issue. I don't understand who our elected officials on the state level are listening to. They get elected, they go to Albany, they just sign off on everything. They have to be held accountable somehow or another. But here in Orangetown, I think we have a great board. I look forward to Teresa Kenny being the next town supervisor. Congratulations to you, Teresa. And to you, Chris, of course, I'm sad to see you leave. And hopefully someday you can get back again. Okay.
Thank you, Eileen. All right, last on the sign-in sheet is Carol Baxter of Palisades. I saw your email come in, by the way. I just didn't get a chance to respond. Thank you.
That's okay, thank you. Good evening, Supervisor Day and the town board. Thank you for having this opportunity giving me this opportunity to speak. Again, Supervisor Day, I am sorry to see you go. You've been very responsive to a lot of issues, and especially to some issues in Palisades that have been very important as far as safety and development. Thank you all together. I'm come before you today to speak briefly to add to the conversation that began 2 weeks ago with Haber's request for simplifying the historic district laws. When I moved here over 20 years ago, I couldn't believe that this was only 12 minutes north of the George Washington Bridge. Driving through Tappan was breathtaking. Washington headquarters, 1776 house, and all the historic homes. Piermont, Palisades, and dotted all throughout the town of Orangetown, history was everywhere. How wonderful that a town felt it important too. So important that it became our motto, Orangetown, rich in history. I know there was a concern by the town board about the idea of adding more layers of regulations on homeowners, but when a person purchases a home in the historic district, they already have layers of regulations. But within the historic district, there's confusion about houses that are built before or after 1918 and what rules go with it, which house. In 1965, there was a strong desire to preserve two areas of historic significance in Tappan and Palisades, so significant that the town created a historic district, not individual houses, but to protect the homes in an entire designated area. The goal was to keep the charm and quaintness of these areas by harmonizing all the homes and buildings in the designated area to retain and preserve a piece of history. And to do that, all homes would have an added layer of regulation. But issues come up that present confusion, like issues of painting that can be easily solved by looking at historic district regulations of other New England towns. I'll give one example that discusses the changes in the exterior of all homes that have to appear before the historic district. For example, Lexington, Massachusetts is one. Remember, the goal is to retain harmony within the designated district. They have the historic board there designates 20, 25, 30 colors that they deem approved historic colors. So if a person paints their home the same color that it is now, then they need not go before a board. Number two, if a person selects a color on the approved list, then they receive a certificate at the building department. They don't have to get a permit, and they get a certificate of approval, and they're done. Third, if a person wants to paint their home a color that's not on the list, oh my gosh, they have to appear then before the historic board. And then it becomes a discussion. It's simple, it's clear, everybody knows what's expected of them, and I'm hoping that you will consider and continue the dialogue so that we can keep those laws and regulations simple and clear. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Is there anyone who did not sign in who would like to speak for public comment? Seeing none, I'm going to entertain a motion to close public comment. Is there a motion? Councilman Troy, second by Councilman Batari. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We'll just touch it in order. Esther, thank you. I appreciate it. Barbara, Courtwood Village, we did kind of hit on this the other day. I know you weren't here, but basically the town backs the bonds for Courtwood. We don't have any operational control over them. That's run by the Housing Authority. And the rent increases were required in order to save their bonds, essentially. I don't know what the status on the Dennis liaison, right, if the status currently the improvements are, but we can only inform. We don't have any control over it.
I've talked about this before, that people, I understand people's frustration. I understand people's frustration with the progress. But one of the things we have, the people on the Housing Authority board, they're all volunteers, all right, including two ladies that are residents of Courtwood. And it's been a slow go in getting the capital project off the ground. Right now, we have out RFPs for roofing. That will be the first step. Then the next one right after that will be the boilers. So just seeing changes. When you have people in there tearing off the roofs on all the buildings there, you know, people start to see some progress. The only thing is a roof doesn't mean anything to the person in their apartment, but the roofs are 25 years old. They need to be done to stop leakage. From after the boilers, then we have to do something on drainage, and then there's a plan to do windows and doors. You can't do the doors until the drainage is done, because otherwise leakage would go in and ruin the new doors. As a matter of fact, Jane Slavin helped us with this whole plan going back 3 years ago, and then she kind of messed me up by becoming the head of the building department instead of being my go-to person at Courtwood, which kind of slowed me down. So we're working on it. Thank you.
Then the town hall questions, we definitely are considering costs. We did a detailed analysis, Jeff and Eric, at what the cost of maintenance here, what we'd have to do so it doesn't sort of collapse into the ground versus the cost of a new building and bond length and everything. The town board initiated, before I got on, a cost comparative and function comparative study. So I think there were 9 or 10. There was a whole bunch of different design options. This ended up being the cheapest one, and also I think the most functional in terms of what it does and where it goes. So it was kind of a win-win. So we will continue to treat everyone's money like it's our own, because like it's our own personal household money, because in the end it comes out of our taxes too. And just like last year we cut the overall tax levy, we're going to focus on making sure this is done in a way that doesn't get passed on to residents and make them have to pay more. But we still do what we have to do, which means, you know, eventually this thing will fall down on our heads, and we just don't want to deal with that. Whoever's supervisor will probably be the one that gets killed. But next, Mike and Eileen, thank you for your thoughts on the 2 resolutions. We're very happy to be sponsoring them both. And we do hope Rockland, if the state does pass it, though it seems like every day, it seems that they may not end up passing legalization, we hope Rockland does opt out. Orangetown itself, we did edit it. You may have looked at an older version. We can't opt out ourselves because our municipality size isn't enough, but the county can. That's why we're delivering it to the county legislature. And I also want to thank my assistant Amanda for writing that very detailed resolution. It was quite informative and well done. Then, Carol, if you could send those example laws, because we're open to the paint situation. I don't think there was like a hard stop no. We want to discuss it. We just want it to be nice and simple and easy for everyone if we're going to do something. So if there's examples of other places that have done a nice, simple, easy, you don't need a full building permit to paint your house type thing, then shoot it over to us and we will look at it and explore it. Yeah, well, Jane, if you shoot it to me or to Jane, whoever emails you have, we'll circulate it amongst ourselves and talk about what it looks like in terms of an answer. But we don't. There's no penalties in government for plagiarism, so we're happy to take someone else's idea and run with it. Okay. All right, moving on. Does anyone have anything else they want to add on the public comment section? Okay. All right, so the first agenda item, we are now voting. So we will be voting on the items we workshopped earlier. Motion to accept the resignation of Dr. Margaret Mary Fitzpatrick from the Board of Ethics. Is there a motion? Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Troy. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to appoint Michael McCrory to the Planning Board. Is there a motion? Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Troy. All in favor?
Aye.
Memorializing resolution opposing the release or parole of Judith Clark and Matula Shakur. Is there a motion? Councilman Batari, second by Councilman Valentine. All in favor?
Aye.
Memorializing resolution opposing the legalization of recreational marijuana in New York and supporting medical. Councilman Troy with the motion, second by Councilman Valentine. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to award bid for Energov for Tyler Technologies for our online permitting and other software usage in the building department and others. Is there a motion? Councilman Batari, second by Councilman Valentine. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to file claim against the state and their subcontractor for filling our sewer lines with cement. Is there a motion? Councilman Batari, second. Councilman Troy, all in favor?
Aye.
File, accept, and receive, or scratch that and reverse it, performance bond for the Orangetown Commerce Center site plan. Motion, Councilman Troy, second by Councilman Batari, all in favor?
Aye.
Approve tax certiorari, BNC Development versus Assessor. Is there a motion? Councilman Troy, second by Councilman Batari, all in favor?
Aye.
Adopt the I have to do a roll call on this one. I see ayes and noes listed below it, or is that not necessary? That's just accidentally in there, okay. A resolution to adopt Town of Orangetown internal procurement policy. Is there a motion? Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Troy, all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to adopt a policy on travel and conferences. Is there a motion? Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Batari, all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to accept documents and file them in the town clerk's office. Is there a motion? Councilman Batari, second by Councilman Troy, all in favor?
Aye.
Granting permission for Richard Oliver and Mike Asherson to attend the drone training course. Is there a motion? Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Troy, all in favor?
Aye.
Grant permission for Doug Sampath and Mike Bettman to also attend the same training. Is there a motion? Councilman Batari, second by Councilman Troy, all in favor? There we go.
Aye.
Approve assistance for the Sparkill Memorial Day Parade, Monday, May 27th. Is there a motion? Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Batari, all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to approve assistance for the Greek Festival, June 6th to 9th. Motion. Councilman Batari, second by Councilman Valentine, all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to implement and authorize funding of the costs, accept funding for the Bridge New York funds for the Sparkle Creek culvert. Is there a motion? Councilman Troy, second by Councilman Batari, all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to appoint Helen Wilson, principal clerk stenographer, at no change in salary. Is there a motion? Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Troy, all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to approve shade tree plantings for Arbor Day at the Homes for Heroes, as listed. Is there a motion? Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Batari, all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to approve surplus equipment for the batting cage stuff. Sadly, it is not going to work there. Is there a motion? Councilman Troy, I didn't say you were wrong. We had to try. We did have to try. All right. Is there a second? Councilman Valentine, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, there's still batting cages over at the driving range on 303, if you're looking to take your kids somewhere and it stops raining. Motion to, resolution to accept donations and memorial benches. Is there a motion? Councilman Batari, second by Councilman Troy, all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to create a position for Justice Court Security Attendant, part-time. Is there a motion? Councilman Batari, second by Councilman Troy, all in favor?
Aye.
Audit.
You guys can't make this small.
That's what it is, a different haircut. Yeah, see.
Okay, tonight's warrant had 179 vouchers for 656,000. Items of interest, number 1, Atlantic Salt, 64,000 for highway salt purchases. Number 3, Capasso, 48,000 for refuse and recycling. Number 5, reimbursement of a town employee, 8,000 for a payroll cyber fraud.
Let me jump
we
in on that
incurred.
one, Jeff.
Sure.
So what happened here on number 5, and we're not calling attention to it for a reason. It's important everyone learns from it. There was essentially spoofing email where they pretended to be me and sent it to payroll and pretended I wanted to get my direct deposit changed. And I wasn't in the office that day. It ended up getting changed, and 3 paychecks made it over to their debit card checking account. It was caught on the 4th one. We are changing a few things to make sure it's less likely. We're going to put a form together online for the new what's it called? The
Direct
online
deposit
system we're
form.
doing. Laserfiche. It'll be a Laserfiche form instead of a hard copy form. We're going to require verification of personal information on it, and we're just going to make sure that there is sort of retraining and also refocus on identifying the sender and making sure it goes through, that you're talking to the right person. It wasn't incredibly sophisticated, but it wasn't very obvious in the beginning. It was something that could have made sense. So it could happen to anyone, and I appreciate everyone being okay with me getting the money that I was supposed to get. It just happened to be at a period of time where I didn't notice it, and also I'm not the one who did it either, just to be clear. So, but if I missed anything, I don't know.
Yeah, and we are obviously working with the police department to investigate this and try and catch it, even though that's highly unlikely. I would also like to mention that in the 7 years I've been here, this is the first time we've actually incurred a penalty or got a fraudulent payment out of the town. So while it is, somewhat embarrassing, the IT department does a great job of filtering out many of these. I mean, thousands and thousands of these that we get. And then my finance department does also a very good job of stopping them as well, because we get them as they get through the IT, we get them. And this one got by us. And
The important thing is that, the ongoing criminal investigation is important to note. Our IT team's on it, our PD. But one reason to talk about this is a lot of times seniors, when they get scammed, they feel embarrassed and they don't want to tell anyone. It can happen to anyone, even a professional organization. So if you feel like you're in a hole financially because something happened, talk to someone and don't feel embarrassed to say it, because it happens to professional payroll people sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
And we have our formula that we asked them to do. We asked them to do additional things, and they did those additional things. So we will certainly review, because it's always changing, how sophisticated they get, and unfortunately, they got us this time. I would also like to mention to the board that we do have a cybersecurity policy for this. We have a deductible of $10,000, so this obviously didn't meet that threshold, but we are protected if this were to occur, anything above that amount. So we try and protect the town every which way we can, including insurance, to ensure that the town's taxpayer dollars are not used unwisely or taken away from the town fraudulently, in this case.
Questions? Cool.
Okay.
Come on, Jeff. Thank you.
Also, item number 6, Global Montello, $18,000 for fuel. Number 9, Mazer Consulting, $68,000 for traffic signal design. in Route 303 culvert design, that's bonded money. Number 11, Orange and Rockland, $91,000 for utilities. Number 12, Plymouth Rock, $44,000 for utilities. And number 15, Suez, $88,000 for water. And number 16, Walters Pratt and Son, $23,000 for highway equipment, which is also bonded money. Any questions on the audit?
Do I have a motion? Councilman Troy, second by Councilman Valentine. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. All right, so we have a few folks to adjourn in memory of. We're going to be entering executive session. Will be specific matters of personnel as well as land sale. Do we have any contracts or no? No, okay. So 3 folks passed recently. One is Will Brennan, who was a longtime representative for Orangetown for Aflac. He was around a lot, relatively young when he passed. John Robinson Sr., the father of town employee John Robinson Jr., and also this morning, we received word that the former town supervisor and former councilman Roger Pellegrini passed away. I don't think anyone was expecting it necessarily. But, so very sad. From all things I've heard, and a couple people in our office did work with him, he was a really good guy, and I think he was universally liked. So our prayers are with the families of all 3 of these folks. Is there anyone else that has passed in this past week that we'd like to add? Okay. Given that, I'm going to move that we enter executive session. Yes, Chief.
You know, I'd like to mention, the other day, Catherine Godfrey, Spark Hill, but whose family is the Byron family in Clover. She died the other day at 104 years old at Dowling Gardens, and she was a long-time resident down here. But the last name is Godfrey, Catherine in normal spelling, but I went to the funeral yesterday because I knew the family, and 104 years old, what a great life, you know?
That's amazing. For anyone who couldn't hear on camera, that's Catherine Godfrey, longtime resident, currently was living at Dowling Gardens, 104 years old, life well lived. So we'll add Catherine to the list here, and our prayers with their family as well.
Yeah.
So I'm going to move that we enter executive session to discuss land sales and specific matters of personnel, and immediately thereafter adjourn in memory of Will Brennan, John Robinson Sr., former Supervisor Roger Pellegrini, and Catherine Godfrey. Is there a second? Councilman Troy, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all very much.